Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we have the review for Lost in Random, a game that I have been eyeing up for the longest time, and I'm glad I've played it and I've got it here for you. Gaming has seen its fair share of duos. You've got Banjo-Kazooie, you've got Jackson Daxter, the list goes on and on. Few, however, have left such a mark like Even and Dicey in their adventure through the multiple kingdoms of random to rescue Odd from the evil queen. This tale has been given a dash of Tim Burton styled scenery and characters, with a dash of clever and enjoyable battle systems and script. In a world saturated by a myriad of games released on a weekly basis, it's hard to go through that dreaded eShop and find a decent game that's suitable for you. I'm really glad that I managed to take the time to have a look at this one. The question is it a high roller with enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with other adventure games? Well, stick around to see if this is for you. Please subscribe for more content and hit the bell to be notified when a new video goes up. Without further ado, let's rock and roll.
And the Queen said, every child of 12 years shall throw this supreme dice, and so it was. For random is fair, random prevails, and random rules.
In the kingdom of random, the fate of all individuals is decided by a cursed black dice when they reach the age of 12. Even's sister, aptly named Odd, is abducted by the wicked queen of random. As Even journeys across the 6 realms of random to rescue her sister, she meets Dicey, a sentient dice who has lost nearly all of its pips. In a world which is governed by game rules, Even will slowly understand the randomness of life with the help of Dicey. The game was penned by Ryan North, who has previously worked on the unbeatable Squirrel Girl and the Adventure Time TV series. The world of random seemed to have once been a great place to live, as those who remember that world before the Queen took over will describe it fondly. And your journey somewhat mirrors that of many of the characters you meet in your adventure. It's very hard to get storytelling right in certain games, and I do feel that I was engaged enough and I wanted to know more about Even and the world she inhabits, and also what would happen to the fate of her and her sister and essentially anyone she comes across. Although from the get-go the world has a sort of somber tone, and that includes a lot of the cast of characters, you will soon see that the developers have put a lot of time and effort into creating good balance of great storytelling and game progression. And with the sort of charm that one may find from animations such as The Corpse Bride or James and the Giant Peach, which tend to have some dark tones to them, but yet manage to add a lot of charm to the world and its characters. You take control of Even as she bravely leaves her town to rescue her sister. At its core, the game will see you carrying out minor quests for the colourful yet macabre looking inhabitants of random. Thus, small RPG mechanics that nicely flesh out the game have been implemented. These will reward you with coins and cards, of which the latter are used during combat. Coins are usually found in bird-headed looking containers, which are placed above your character's line of sight, which in turn promotes exploration of the levels.
Cards, I got cards here, the greatest cards in the land, from my body to your hands.
Early on in the game, you will meet Dicey, a sentient dice that looks like a cyclops, but has the charm of an energetic, non-verbal sidekick, akin to the likes of R2-D2 from Star Wars. Similarly, like its comparison, he too has a lot of tricks under his sleeve and is a force to be reckoned with. He will help Even with puzzles and battles. Battles are placed in between exploration and mini quests, and I found them proportionately placed, keeping the pacing engaging and enjoyable. Even is armed with a slingshot and must shoot the blue shards that appear on the Queen's robots. When shot, these will shatter and will charge up Dicey when he collects them. You can chuck Dicey at any point after that, and this will trigger the dice mention, a time freezing mechanic which will give you enough space to plan out your next move. The rolled number allows for specific cards to be used. These cards will grant even with swords, bows, boons and traps. I really enjoyed getting into fights in the game simply because their flow is unlike any other game I've played before. Although full of action, the combat in the game relies on a good dice throw and a good dealt hand of useful cards. As mentioned before, the coins earned can be spent on acquiring better cards. There is a deck building mechanic as well, and you can swap around the cards in your deck when you are not in battle. You can have a total of 15 cards during battle, and it is important to experiment and find the best ones to suit your playstyle. My only critique of the battle in the game is that it can go on for a bit too long, especially if you don't get the right cards that you need. However, I do understand that it all adds up to the thrill of trying out your luck. To mix up the battle gameplay ever so slightly, some battles take place on huge board games that require the player to move the piece via Dicey's roll. And although it might be very minor, it does give you the sense of being part of a very interactive tabletop, and I thought it was a very imaginative way of using Dicey for what he truly is, a dice. Another thing to bear in mind about battles, like I said before, you do have to collect these blue shards from the enemy. If you do get surrounded, and it's very hard to just bring out your slingshot and just smash the shards that grow on the robots, you can also dash through the enemy the second they strike, and that will cause the shards to fall off them naturally. Lastly, throughout each of the 6 kingdoms, you will be able to find a storybook which retells the history of Random, and it is a nice collectible to obtain, as these are also narrated and have some lovely illustrations.
When they were ready, or when they were brave enough, the most courageous in Random would embark on a great adventure, making their way to the Valley of the Dice.
And like most third-person adventure games, Even cannot jump onto platforms, but the levels are structured in a way that allow her to jump down when needed. Controlling both characters is a simple affair, and commands are very responsive. The soundtrack complements the narrative with orchestrated eerie songs and atmospheric strings and percussions. They really bring this grim fairy tale to life. Narrated by the talented Ty Konzak, known for Zombie Vikings, Stick It to the Man and Shattered Heaven, the story is very engrossing and really compelled me into finding out more about the world and the fate of our duo. There are a lot of dark tones to the story, mixed with some great humour. All of the voice acting is of a high standard, and I never felt it was irritating or repetitive.
Life of fighting and misery. That's cheating. Well, so is having an almighty dice.
The sound effects also help bring the action to life, with the sound of a single bell toll upon throwing Dicey, warping you into the frozen dice mention, being a personal favourite. Yeah, I love when you hear it's really cool. My only issue with the audio was the fact that a few times the music would just suddenly stop playing for a few seconds. Other than that, I really enjoyed the audio, and the amount of love that went into the voice acting and the high standard of the soundtrack really helped complement the game as a whole. Also, an extra 10 points for having a lot of British accents. Nice one.
I've never heard such an opinion before. It's bold, it's direct, it's quite possibly insane.
I'm sorry, I'm on break now.
By fusing so many different inspirations, the developers have managed their own style, which, to be honest, the last time I saw something similar to this was American McGee's Alice. The style of the presentation and of the world and its inhabitants will not be to everyone's liking, but there is tons of charm here, and they have managed to create a world of their own. And I feel that the style is very fitting in order to be able to balance the eerie with the charming and the dark with the really good storytelling, and still manage to make it their own style. Everything from the storybooks to the map to the cards have been brilliantly crafted with beautiful illustrations, although sadly the Switch version looks very rough around the edges, with the resolutions only improving when the game is played in dock mode. This does not devalue the presentation of the game whatsoever, and the frame rate seems to be stable enough. The game does lack a tiny bit of polish overall, but having said that, I am glad to say that there were no crashes or soft locks during my playthrough, but simple things such as assets remaining a second after a cutscene fades to black sort of devalues all the work that went into the gameplay. I am literally grasping at straws here, and I know how petty this sounds overall, but it has to be mentioned. The text size and the user interface are of a good quality and are eligible enough as well. It is hard to be a gamer in today's world where the market is saturated with the same old experiences and hyped AAA games that will soon have you screaming for a refund. I am glad that the development team at Zoink were given the opportunity to release a moving story into the world, and it stands tall with other female protagonist adventures such as The Labyrinth and Alice in Wonderland. Although many of you would think that this game was made by Tim Burton, and that truly is a compliment, I would say after playing the game that it borrows a lot of the elements that truly make Tim Burton's animations stand out from everything else out there. Also, I'm glad that for once EA did the right thing and published a game that really should be promoted more. The game lacks some technical polish, but it goes to show what a studio with passion can deliver. I would recommend this game to anyone who would like to embark on a great adventure, full of ups and downs and everything in between. I hope the game does well and the developers get the support and funds needed to expand on this title or to create a much needed sequel or spin-off. Furthermore, for us physical collectors, I would encourage them to release this physically with an art book and possibly a plush figure of Dicey. If you're not overcome by your backlog, I truly recommend that you have a look at this game, whether on Switch or any platform of your choice. I think this is on Game Pass. Give it a shot, you will not be disappointed. We here at Grinning Wolf Games give Lost in Random a much deserved 8 out of 10.
Hey, you. Come here, Ted. Question's not who at 6 bad. I think you got one, or so she thinks.
If you need eShop credit, click on the link below. It will take you to the SwitchUp store. Use the coupon code SwitchUp just before you pay to get a 10% off your purchases. They have opened their store in the US as well, so you can get your eShop cards from there. Check out the Switch Watch channel for all your physical releases, and also if you want to support them and get a sweet little 5% discount, click on the link below. Anything you purchase from them will help their channel massively. Enter the coupon code SwitchWatchTV just before you pay, and you'll get a sweet 5% discount. Thanks to them, I've managed to get my own collector's edition copy of Eastward, which I will unbox as soon as it arrives and show you all. Thanks for watching, guys. We're coming up to a year's anniversary. I can't believe it's been a year already. Please like, subscribe, share the video, and hit that bell so you don't miss a thing. And yeah, Merry Christmas. Catch you in the next one.
Miss? I could use that word.